Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. We are in a very weird place today. We're actually booted up into SAO Fatal Bullet. The reason for that is I know I've heard a lot of people talk about the gearing system, their concerns about the grindiness that might exist in Fractured Daydream, and I wanted to show you guys why I personally am not that concerned when it comes to the gear grind in Fractured Daydream by showing you what the gear grind was like in Fatal Bullet, the last game that the team that's working on Fractured Daydream made. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, as always, my name is Chrono. I primarily cover PSO2 content, but we're dipping our toes into the SAO scene a little bit more. But much appreciated to subscribe as we're going towards that 10K mark, hopefully by the end of this year. I've seen many of you guys jump on board with the SAO thing, so I do appreciate the support you guys are showing. It does mean a lot to me, but that's enough shilling. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So first things first, this is a character from a very old character design, so I think it's about time we updated to what we look like these. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is where we go to. All right, and I guess I was gonna show this off really quick here because I mean, if you guys follow my social media, like thickness is a bit high, man. We're a little bit of a thick. It gave us an ass too. That's kind of crazy. But if you guys follow my social media, you know that there's people with some pretty interesting takes on the character creator in different games, and SAO Fatal Bullet got brought up. And while I absolutely love Fatal Bullet and it's one of my favorite games of all time, yeah, a lot of this is just pick a preset, man. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. I played a lot of games with some really good character creators, so I love Fatal Bullet. This is not the reason why I loved it. It's passable, it's serviceable, it does its job, and it's good enough, right? But we're not going to be out here, you know, lying to people, telling you that this character creator is better than other character creators when it's effectively the character creator from like, no, it has more. I was gonna say it's like 2000s World of Warcraft, to be honest, but it has more than 2000s WoW. It's more like 2010 WoW, more or less. Anyway, I'm not going to dog the character creator. We're going to go ahead and update our character to something a bit more fitting of our current updated character look. We could do a bit more fine editing, but honestly, this will do for now. Let's go ahead and save that. All we need to know, see, that's a proper height. We're looking good there. Let's go ahead and switch up our equipment. I think I only kept a couple of outfits on my character specifically. This is basically Kirito's outfit from Fatal Bullet. It's actually a pretty cool outfit, honestly, all things considered. And then the one I think I usually rocked for the most part when I was playing through the story was this one. I believe you got this as like a pre-order bonus or something along those lines. It gave me like, it was of course this Sword Art Online vibe, but it also kind of gave me like a Trigun vibe. It reminded me of Soul Reaver and a bunch of other anime. So like, you know what, this is definitely my vibe. So here we go. All right, now that we've updated the drip, maybe we'll if this video, you know, I don't know, maybe it gets 50, maybe 75 likes, maybe even 100. We might have Skulls come in and customize Arphasis to actually look like a character she would create. This was a character designed way back in the day, so we know she had not really much taste. She got enough, you know. But either way, so there are concerns about the grinding process or the gearing process that'll happen in Fractured Daydream, and I wanted to show you guys how the gearing process worked in Fatal Bullet to show you that like it's similar in a sense as to what we've already seen, and it's likely we'll see a lot of the same systems, and also explain why I'm not super concerned because of that specifically. So as far as gearing goes, let's look at our character. So we can take a look at our equipment. You can see I'm actually going to move out of the way. Let me switch scenes really quick here. Let's use our watching content scene. How's that? Okay, so you can see we've got something called melee power. We have, of course, weapon rank. We have weapon type, which is legendary. We have the memory chips. You can see there's two sets of chips there. Some that are kind of grayed out a little bit, that have little, what looks like the Meseta symbol next to them, to be perfectly honest, from PSO2. And then the bottom half of them where they're kind of like lit up a bit more. You can see that's where the weapon attack, the crit rate, the crit damage when near death, all that stuff is at. But the damage versus max, damage at max HP, physical attack, damage from behind, all that stuff is grayed out. And essentially what these are, they're locked versus unlocked slots. You can see it's always roughly half of them that are locked versus unlocked. Now, when you first get a weapon, you can see all of them are realistically locked. You choose which one of them you want to unlock. You can unlock up to 4 of these skills, or four of the chips essentially that you're using. Now, I'm gonna go and I think I need to find an example. Does this have what I need on it? Let me see. Because this is my weapon I'm using currently. It's damage versus max. Have damage versus max, damage versus humanoids. No. Weapon attack, damage versus max. Okay, so this actually will work for what we want it to. So I'm actually gonna, can I unlock this item? Maybe if I go to items, go to weapon. I gotta remember how this stuff works. Sorry guys. There we go. Right stick, I believe. Yeah, there we go. Unlock that. All right, perfect. So actually I don't have to go and buy an item. I can go show you guys how this works. All right. So head over to Kirito's room. That's where we find Agil and Lisbeth. So when we got drops in the beta, they were stuff that we had to appraise, right? Well, it's very, very similar to the system in Fatal Bullet. You got an item to drop, you come over to Agil and you would appraise it. It works exactly the same way. I don't have anything to appraise at the moment, but you can kind of imagine it's the same system. You get a rarity item, you appraise it, you see what it is, cool. The more important is talking to Lisbeth. Now, Lisbeth has three primary functions. So she's got enhanced weapons, she has transform weapons, she has weapon overclocking. So enhancing weapons, that allows you to increase the weapon rank. So it goes from 9 to 10 in this situation. And you have, of course, a couple of different formulas to do that. It's just the items that you can use to upgrade. So you have a couple of different options. Pretty nice. This, I don't foresee that being the case in Fatal Bullet. I'm sorry, in Fractured Daydream, but it's just how that process worked. You also had weapon overclocking, which weapon overclocking, how that would work is you would essentially pick a weapon and you can actually increase its stats by using overclock chips. You can see at the very top we have two of the legendary overclock chips. We go to our main weapon, and what this does is it increases its damage. So you can see with one overclock chip that goes from 2849, 2851. If I put 2 in there, it goes to 2854, and that will just increase its overall damage. We'll go ahead and do that, not a big deal. You can see it increases our damage. Cool stuff, right? Nothing else changed, pretty solid. Now, the important thing is the transform weapons. So the way transforming weapons works is we can choose a base weapon, we can choose a fodder weapon. Now, the base weapon is what's going to retain the actual stats. The fodder weapon is what we're going to use to either increase or transfer specific memory chips over to this weapon. So we're going to take the Raikiri G7 and we're going to select this Raikiri G7. Now, we can see a couple of different things here, right? First off, you can see that you see that the damage versus mechs is already highlighted. The reason for that is because damage versus mechs exists on the other option of the other weapon, right? So what we can do is we have damage versus mechs. If we try to move it, we can't because it's already over here, right? So how do we upgrade that damage versus mechs? Well, keep a close eye on damage versus mechs when I go to something like, let's say, critical damage. Now, it's kind of explaining two things at once, unfortunately, but it's easiest to explain it this sort of way and show you guys how this works. So there's a few rules when it comes to moving over stats onto your weapons. So as you can see, we have the entire list of skills available on the right-hand side, material weapons. On the left-hand side is our base weapon itself. So the material weapon has got crit damage on it. It's got weapon attack on it. It's got damage versus mechs on it. Now, once I move these things over from the other material weapon, if I remember correctly, you won't be able to use this weapon. It's kind of uses it as fodder, so it's going to go away. Now, granted, it's been a long time since I've done this, so feel free to correct me in the comments below. I am doing this purely off of memory. I haven't been in this game at all. I'm literally just booting it up and trying to remember everything as I go along. Because I was just kind of sitting down thinking about how this process would work and if I was, all that concerned about it. But realistically speaking, the more I look back into it, it's really kind of an awesome system. It's very easy to build up what you need. You just got to go through a lot of fodder, basically, right? And you have to actually kind of pay attention to the fodder that you get, so which is fine because you get quite a bit of it as you're going through quests anyway. So you're able to build up some pretty awesome stuff. But I'm rambling. So how does this work? You have your locked and your unlocked chips. The way the locked chips work are they increase when you move over or upgrade skills on the unlocked chips. So if I go over here to critical damage, I have critical damage at 29.39. Now, because I have critical damage on the right-hand side over here, I can select it and watch what happens with damage versus mechs. So it's 19.89. Critical damage is now 30 because it effectively was lower. Actually, I think damage versus mechs is lower than that. Hang on, let me double check. Yeah, okay, so damage versus mechs is supposed to be 18.81. We pick this, we can see it's 19.87. The reason for that is because we're using fodder that has that skill on it already from the lock slot. So the way that you can actually increase the locked slots is using fodder that has the skill on it already. So because there's already damage versus mechs here, by 3, it's increasing our damage versus mechs on our base weapon. Now, you can't overwrite or boost up a skill from your unlock slots with your lock slots. So like, let's say, for example, I had, let's see. I don't believe it lets me do this, right? Yeah, okay, so that's the way it works. So let's say, for example, this weapon attack was 20%. It wouldn't let me move that over. You can't use a higher percentage on the lower percentage chance. So basically what you are is you're incrementally increasing these as you go along. So I can do, let's say, this and then select that. I can do this and I can't select that because I'm already moving over a chip from the, oh, actually, there we go. I was like, hang on a second. I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. But as you can see, this has 3 skills that match the weapon I have. 2 of them are unlocked and 1 of them is locked. Now I can't actively select the locked one, but I can select the unlocked ones and I can increase the stats on all my other stuff. So because this has critical damage and has weapon attack, that has critical damage and weapon attack, I can choose to go ahead and do that, while also automatically increasing this one here specifically because it's a part of the material. Of course, then it costs me more as I do these things, but that's totally fine. As long as I have the resources, I can already increase it. But because of this, I can essentially go for a weapon, and when I'm looking at all the stats, as long as it has 4 serviceable stats that I can go with, like let's say you luck out and you see like damage versus mechs, like accuracy, increased ammo, or something along those, like all those things or whatever, and it's 4 of them that you're looking for, but the other 4 are pretty crap. Well, you can unlock the 4 that you want to keep for sure, and then look for other weapons that have those stats that you're looking for and transfer those on there and then build them all the way up, while you're also looking for weapons that have the lock stats that you're using to also build those ones up as well. Now, the key to that is that you have to make sure that you are getting the stats you're looking for. You have to keep an eye out for it, but it effectively makes almost everything useful. Even if you get a weapon that doesn't have the stats you're looking for on it, well, then you can just use part of them. As long as it has part of what you're looking for on it, it's still a useful item. The only thing you can't do is, like, again, if I were to say I saw critical damage 40% here for some reason or whatever, I can't transfer the critical damage 40% onto my critical damage 30%. I'll need to move my critical damage 30% off with something else and then move critical damage 40% onto here from the other weapon. A little complicated in a sense. You should just be able to override it. I think that would be much better. But that's the way the system itself works. But you can see I'm increasing 3 stats here with 1 weapon, and that weapon had the 3 stats I wanted and was able just to pull them. That was it. Now I can also, just like, let's say, for example, I don't want damage when near death anymore and I want damage versus humans. Well, now I've effectively swapped that over. So now I have damage versus humanoids. I also have damage versus mechs. I also have that, and we're good to go. Like, I have all the things that I wanted on here. If I hit Y, it removes all of them. Keep in mind, this is still increasing because this is still here. And if I just want to confirm just increasing my damage versus mechs and not move over anything else, I absolutely can. It's very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do weapon attack, critical damage, and confirm. And now we're increasing our damage versus mechs, we're increasing our weapon attack, and we're increasing our critical damage. And all the stats increase. So because a lot of the systems are already very similar, and it's made by the exact same dev team, I feel like this is going to be similar to what we experience when we're looking at Fractured Daydream. Now, granted, it could be a completely different system. It could be completely different than what we just experienced. What I just showed you guys, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's exactly the same, but what I'm finding is a lot of things that are similar that you found in Fatal Bullet are also in Fractured Daydream. So again, I'm not 100% concerned about it, but what do you guys think is going to be the system? Let me know in the comments below. Like, enjoyed the video. If you want to keep up with more, as always, thanks to channel members. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate you guys. Are you looking forward to Fractured Daydream? What character are you looking forward to playing? If you ask me what character I'm looking forward to playing after what I just showed you, after what you know about my channel, I'm concerned. I'm truly concerned about your health. Yes, it's Kirito. Anyway, take care, my friends. Peace out.
ありがとうゆいちゃん。こちらでも確認したわ。エギルさんたちすっかり囲まれてるってこと？大丈夫？
問題ない。殺したって死なないメンバーだからな。シノンたちの準備は？
とっくに完了しているわ。いつでもどうぞ。
お出ましみたいよ。こちらからご挨拶しちゃいましょうか。
ええ、挨拶は大きくが基本よね。
あそこだ。
あとはよろしくね。
あんたたちの相手はこっち。クレハ。
奇襲だ。
鬼ごっこしたいなら遊んであげるけど。
どっちが鬼かはお楽しみってな。
ではスタートですよ。
派手に行くわよ。
各チーム敵に追われています。そちらはいかがですか？
こちらもまんまと追われているのです。用意はすべて完了しています。
了解です。ではあとは捕まらずに逃げ回ってください。
道を間違えました。
おーい、こっちこっち。
この
さあ、もう袋のネズミだぜ。
チョコマカ逃げ回りやがって。
くそ。迎え撃て。行くぜ相棒。